Hiya, I'm Lexi and this is Costalk, where I sort of talk about cosplaying, Comic-Cons, maybe some makeup tutorials, stuff like that. Today I am going to share with you the Comic-Cons I have attended, and I'm going to rank them from A to F. A being amazing and F being not so great. I've been going to Comic-Con since 2019, and this is all in my own opinion, and I am not sponsored, so let's get into it. First is Bournemouth Film and Comic-Con which is from the company Showmasters. This was my first convention back in 2019. I cosplayed. My very first cosplay was Mike from Stranger Things. At the time my hair was really short, so it was a no-brainer. This was an amazing convention. You could do tickets for photos, there was merchandise, there was stuff to do, and again there was stuff. Again, I went to do the masquerade and I went with my best mate. We went back again in 2023 when it came back. It wasn't as great, it was all shoved into one hall. And so you had a stage and you had a little merchandise area, a little artist alley, and then you had the guests. That was all, and then you put video gaming outside of the hall. And to me, if you put something outside of this hall, it creates traffic, and then you get a bit of a bottleneck. So it wasn't the best second time round. So with that in mind, I am ranking this one an F. So my second convention was Salisbury Comic Con. This was back in 2019, and it was the first time I did a full cosplay with a wig and everything, and that was Nagisa from Assassination Classroom. Again, there wasn't much there. There was just one hall with some merchandise, and then you had the panel with the masquerade there, and some guests. But stuff was outside the hall again, and to me, if you put stuff outside the hall, you haven't got much space, so why did you go to that place in the first place? However, it was great, it was amazing, we met some people there, but it was pretty much it. We were bored half the time. But it was still better than Bournemouth 2023, so I'm marking it as an E. My third convention was Portsmouth Anime Gaming Con from Anime League. I loved this convention. It was my first anime and gaming con. I was in my zone. I love anime. And there was stuff to do. There was video gaming. You still have to watch in the stage area. You also had the lip sync battle and quizzes, etc. So I'm ranking this convention a B, only because once Danny came in, it was quite crowded, and I don't like crowds, so it was a bit. Next is Portsmouth Comic Con. I went there 3 times. Once 2022, again 2023, and then this year 2025. The first time was just as COVID restrictions were lifted, so it was a bit crowded. I'd say a bit too crowded in my opinion. Me and my friend went there when it was standard tickets, so once we came in at 12, it was just completely, it was so busy. And there wasn't much to do. We spent the majority of the time sat on the Guildhall steps because we couldn't go into the Star Wars experience. It was busy and they closed it. And then of course, there was not much else to do, so we just sat and being bored on the Guildhall steps. When again 2023, it was better. There was stuff to do, a Doctor Who exhibit, but again, it was crowded, and we were there for the weekend. There was not much to do for 2 days, but there was a really interesting panel on Sunday, so it kind of made up for that. Plus, me and my mum had a good conversation with Peter Davison while we were waiting for his card machine to work when we got an autograph. And the final time was in it was this year, 2025. It was still stuff to do. It was amazing. I went there with my special someone, and I say it was better. I did the masquerade, I have a fear of public speaking, and I public spoke. So, but still, wasn't much to do, was very busy, still sat on the Guildhall steps. That is a problem with Portsmouth, you need more seating. We generally had to sit on the Guildhall steps to see the stage, and then people were walking up and down them. It's not the best place to put the stage. With that, I'm ranking it as C. Next is Exeter Anime Gaming Con, another one from Anime League. It was the second time I went with this company, and it was the first time I went to the convention with my special someone, and it was amazing. There was stuff to do. We watched some performances. I did the masquerade this time there. It was amazing. However, there were times where it was just crowded and bottlenecks. We couldn't really get into places. I think it's just because of where it was. However, it was amazing. I had a great time there. So I waited in Air B. It's MCM London. I went there in 2024. Just for the Saturday. It was my first time going to a big convention. Before that, I went to little conventions locally. But this was my first big one. I went with my mother because so I didn't know what it was like. And there was stuff to do. It was amazing. There was like things to do in the stores, and there was just so much to see, so much to do. My biggest complaint, because I was there Saturday, it was so crowded, but that's what you get when you go to a London convention, and it was hard to find somewhere to sit, so it was kind of a bit hard to navigate. In my opinion, I don't like crowds, so it was a bit hard to do, but I managed. Rating this convention a D purely because of how crowded it is. Next is MegaCon Farnborough. This was an amazing convention. It was the first time this company been to Farnborough. They do Birmingham MegaCon, and I plan to go to Birmingham hopefully next year, so fingers crossed. And me and my mum loved this convention. There was so much to do. There was loads of stalls, merchandise, there was food, there was panels, so we sat through nearly the whole entirety of Doctor Who panels. But there was stuff to do. We were just sat outside looking bored. So it was a really fun convention. And I got chased by a droid there. And then I had my mother because I was scared of the Daleks. So with that, I've rated this convention at A. That is all for today. Thank you for watching this video. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos like this. I have a Saturday vlog series which I post every Saturday. With that, I will see you soon. Bye!